And we are live. Welcome to the first live episode of the second talk. So it is the second talk, but first live talk with a guest, my friend Christine A. Smith. She is runs the site Aging Better Network, and
Yes.
she has a great show of her own, which is live on LinkedIn called Aspects of Aging, which I try to see myself, which is on Mondays at what time?
Noon Central.
Noon Central. I wanted to make sure I got it right. So
And we found out I really did unmute my phone, my microphone. So hooray. That was worth
I
it.
can hear you. You can hear me. It's a good start. So, this is my first time actually working some of the technicalities. A shout out to my friend who is in the audience saying hello from Waco, Scott Smith. I was going to not be doing this right, and he saved us. He also is the wonderful husband to my guest. So double shout out to he. And he's in both places. He is making sure we are loud and proud in both places. He is our tester without trying. So thank you. Okay, so he is in both places, so he counts as two as far as I'm concerned.
There we go.
All right.
He
So
does.
now that we have gotten over the hurdle of technicalities, and I'm waiting for him to be able to be like, long time listener, first time caller. This is the second talk, and you have to be of a certain age to know that. And if you're here for the second talk, likely you are of a certain age. And
Mhm.
for those of you who may have just randomly fallen upon this live, let me tell you what the second talk is about. The second talk is about the talk that you likely didn't get. Most women had a talk as a young prepubescent girl about what was going to happen, what was coming down the chute. No inappropriate pun intended, which is that your bodies were going to change when hormones ramped up. You were one thing, and then puberty happened, and a bunch of things started to happen. And those things were the beginnings of what could create life. But you don't need that forever. And our bodies start having our hormones shut down. And that's called perimenopause, that eventually becomes menopause. And we make that word really scary. It simply means mena, menses, menstrual cycles, pause, stop, done. For some of us, that was the best thing we had heard. But we don't know a lot about it. Our moms don't give us talks. You don't hear a
Yeah.
lot from your doctors, even your gynecologists. In fact, they often have had one class about it. So we have know the Golden Girls, or if you watch Sex in the City, when she pulls off her wig because she went into surgical menopause because she had breast cancer, and Samantha is dying of heat because she's having horrific heat flashes. And so, in the middle of the breast cancer talk, and she's sweating, she pulls off her wig and she's dying because the heat flashes are so overwhelming. Or you have, the jokes of like a woman opening up the freezer or fridge. That's about our understanding. So,
Yeah.
this is my attempt to rectify all of that. Yes, I can do that. So, I'm starting with my friend from the Aging Better Network to have a somewhat humorous, I hope, but true
Yeah.
conversation about what can happen. And really, like, I didn't know I was having hot flashes because they weren't like that. I just thought like maybe we needed to lower the air conditioning a little bit. Like, I
Mhm.
just thought that it was, that 2 or 3 degree too warm thing.
Right.
And I'm actually really proud of your husband for being a part of this, because I've said it multiple times to friends. We all know what is happening behind the door of our husbands' doctor's appointments. We all know what a prostate exam is. We know, we're the ones who tell them, have you had, your colonoscopy, yada, yada. But most men are like, I don't want to know what happens down there. And it's time for them to know about our health too. So that was the long intro because it's the first one. And now we can discuss.
You're so smart because you just called all that health.
Right.
Doesn't that change everything that we're going to say, everything that you're going to say in episode 17 to somebody else? Isn't just, oh boy, where's my fan? It's there's a health situation. You don't know that you're supposed to go to a doctor. You don't know that there are doctors that are more in tune with aging before what culture thinks as oh, who are you looking for? Well, he's an older man. And so they immediately think, okay, look for somebody hunched over, and all that sort of stuff. It's like, well, if you say, well, a person who looks older than me or looks my age, it's just, this is not a discussion about are you pretty enough? This is
Exactly.
discussions like, are you healthy enough to ride this wave on the surfboard of menopause or middle age or heading into retirement? Are you healthy enough to ride this through and actually get great information and a narrative? And it's like, now I know what to Google. I didn't know there was such a thing as perimenopause. All of a sudden you're smart and you're taking care of yourself so you can take care of other things. I think you are starting off very well on this just by saying that one word, your health.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it, and I will take that. And I do think it starts to demystify it and destigmatize it.
Very good.
I I I'm tired of it just being one big joke. And it's okay to joke about it. Don't get me wrong. I've been laughing about it, but there's a point in which we are all always at a giant butt of a joke just for being at a certain point of our age and doing what our bodies are supposed to do.
Very good.
I am not dying because my body decided I no longer need eggs for babies I am no longer going to create. It is that simple. I am no longer going to host children. So my body is saying we need to put energy in other places for cell recreation. So why would we put it there? It's really smart. It's a smart body. And so instead of looking at it that way, we're like, oh gosh, you're just drying up.
Yes.
That's
That
it's
that dusty feeling,
right.
Does
There's
other people
nothing
look at me and go,
dusty about it.
I don't do anything anymore.
Right.
I'm not vital and vibrant, and people aren't coming over going, "What are you working on?" It's like, "Ooh, don't talk very loudly. They look like they're in a bad mood today."
Exactly. And that's the other part of it. When I and this is not because I know it is a touchy time, so this is not related to any just recent election or anything. Um, in general, I have heard people say they could never vote for a woman for political office because you can't trust a woman in menopause because, she's going to be all over the place. And I'm like,
What if she's educated? What
no,
if she has the information she needs? What if just like having a person in leadership, but at the same time they are doing caregiving for someone at home? It's like, well, they're using their smarts to handle an emotional situation, a physical situation. Since all women since mostly every woman is going to go through it either because they've had a radical hysterectomy or their body said, and we're done. Giving all women the right information and even empowering men with information. So, do you want to hear my story again? My personal story, my
yes.
personal menopause story. I was given a husband who looked at my situation and said, let's start first by just getting you to the doctor, because my thoughts were flying off in three directions. I was giddy, not laughing, not carefree, giddy. I was violently angry, violent thoughts, and I was low, like scary low. I don't know if depression is the word, but I was definitely down in a depression. Right. But it would only last for so long, and then off I went in other directions. And sometimes I think I was even. And I said, I need a psychiatrist now. And his response was, let's start with a doctor and see if this is a physical thing. How wonderful that he had been through experiences and was on the outside of what I did not understand was going on with me from my sweat glands inward.
Right.
I didn't even notice that those times I got extra overheated. So while we waited for test results on a number of whatever panels they did, I started to say to myself, this is not real. I mean, I'm feeling these feelings, I'm having these thoughts, but they're not based in reality. So let's put over here that I've just gone crazy. And I started noticing those, the temperature changes were coming right after tingling in my extremities, my fingers and my feet, especially. Then I wanted cool air, and I had to repeat over and over again to myself, just endure it, just endure it. Don't answer the kids right now. Don't make any decisions. Pull over driving if you need to, get some coolness on you. And then when that timing would pass, I knew, okay, now I've gone from angry into that low spot. And then probably about the time that the tingling would start, I was getting, and I was mapping myself. And that is true of anyone who's going through mental anything, physical anything, even realizing that I'm super sensitive about everything right now. Let me look at the calendar, not for is my period coming on, but what was significant in the past. Oh, the death of a loved one. And I know there's the change of the season, and we just had a birthday, and X number of days later was the passing. And it's like, okay, I'm still feeling it, but I can define it.
Yeah.
So being able to define that I'm extra tired because these things happened up to this point, or I'm not myself yet. I thought my sickness was done last week, but apparently my body hasn't recouped yet. All these things are normal to anyone, any age,
Right.
with or without ovaries.
Exactly. What you had described could be diabetic related, could be thyroid related. My understanding is both men and women have those systems as well. So the logic that these things are unique to women and therefore make them less than in some way is just and it's infuriating to me. And one of the I get inspired multiple ways. I am mostly, as you know, a very positive person. Sometimes I still get mad, especially when there's no logic behind things. I'm an eminently logical person. And so, but the logic, when I get mad,
Mhm.
I usually then try to do something positive, which is what I
Very
want
good.
to do with this, which is that I understand that people often are repeating what they heard and they heard and they heard for long, what they heard from their big brother, uncle, dad, who heard it from their grandfather and great uncle. And it's just what's always been. And the reality is that we've not had much counter to it. So
Mhm.
that's that this is my positive counter to it, which is that we have to start having they can be fun. I don't want them to be like
Yes.
lectures and super serious. Like we will have
Yes.
fun, but they have to be legit conversations that counter some of the most ridiculous, because it also comes from a lack of understanding about themselves. Because if they were to track their own hormone drops, they'd realize that they are not the only ones that go through
Mhm.
an arc. It's just that they don't have a menopause, like they don't have menses, they don't have the same physical markers that we have, right? But
Mhm.
men have significant testosterone drops, and they get commercials that say, hey boy, come on over, we've got all these little pills for you, and they get told that
Mm.
they'll get to be manly, where we get made fun of. And it's
Wow.
right. We see.
I'm just kind of realizing that for the first time,
Yeah.
that they're really, I mean, the
The
whatever
monkey
it
right,
is that a human could relate to, I don't know that I've seen that on TV ads yet. And sorry to the company that's just starting to put this out, but just going, there's something you can do. And, contact us for, you know, options and all that. It's, yeah,
women
I think it
is
is still in I agree with you. Have fun, say something funny about it, make fun of the symptoms.
not the
It's like
woman.
not you, not everything that you've accomplished up till now or everything that you are to another human being because you made eye contact with them. Discredit all that. But you can just go, man, that was, and I'm like, why do I laugh at some things and other things I take great offense at? And maybe there's just that line between um, oh boy, I didn't know I was gonna have to start trimming my ear hair. I didn't, yeah, I can't see that, kind of a thing. But not saying, well, every gentleman who's going bald here, and yet hair seems to be growing everywhere else, or, whatever. It doesn't mean, well, there's nothing, there's no value left there, or there's, just discount that person, just be blind to them. I did think the other day, sorry, this is slightly off, but I did wonder if anyone has established like a regional I'm not invisible day or something, just for the advanced age. And it really would be not pointing at a person saying, look at that old person, go over and talk to them and be nice, but more, hey, as I continue in life, as a 16-year-old, as a 36-year-old, as a 66-year-old, how do I make a difference in the way that I place expectations, or what is that's been in the back of my mind, and bring it out forward. It's like, why do you do a wide berth around the person in the grocery store that is, I'm going to say it again, hunched over? Why do you give them a wide berth? Is it you don't want to startle them, or is it a I have nothing to interact with this person on, but if I see somebody that I feel like I have something in common with, that's okay to interact with them and go, oh, have you bought that before? Do you like it? Why can't I say the same thing to someone who's standing there, or maybe trying to reach something up high, but neuropathy and everything makes it difficult, and just go, have you eaten that before? Did you like it? I mean, did you like that particular food? And it's just amazing how a person will straighten up. At least in my mind, they're straightening up and going, I've lived here for years. I used to work at such and such, and now I do this. I'm actually taking care of my grandchildren because of some difficulties with the parents right now. And you're just like, you're all that. I am richer for having known you, and if you are swooshed away, then, try the next person. There's plenty of people in the store.
No, I think that's really, really well said. And it is a really good reminder, because I think that it is the fear of being that person. And
Hmm.
so often we we're so scared of engaging it and seeing ourselves in them in some way, maybe. So it's so much easier to like not see them, or think, oh, they don't want me to, like, they're hurting, or whatever, or they're gruffy or whatever, and they don't want me, or just anything for our mind, and probably not even consciously, like in the background of our mind. So all of
Mhm.
those thoughts are happening, so that fear monster that keeps us from being our best selves
Wow.
stops us from that, acting, right? So that we go, oh, and moving on, right? And it's the same way why our young selves giggle at the older, when we see someone, an older self, be made fun of or anything, is because we don't want to be that, right? Because that,
That's true. That's true. It's seeing a target instead of a whole person. I mean, not just, oh, they have a spirit and a mind and a body, and all these words that I can assign to it that are very truthful. But here's this whole person that rushed toward a crisis and was literally a true hero. And to, you know, uh, the same goes with menopause. A person who handles an awful lot going on when they've got inside of them an awful lot going on with difficulty sleeping,
right.
that's being taken away, and they've got all that going on. And to look at that menopausal person and go, I really admire you. You've got so much going on.
Yeah.
And it's like, who even thinks to say that
Mm.
you're I want to be like you. This would be me, of course, in the past, to
Right.
even say, how are you handling this stage of life with such, um, I don't know, grace is one word, but also, bulldog tenacity, or other centeredness, or, you're looking beyond yourself at others when you could just be spending the whole time going, "Ugh."
Exactly, and that's the thing too, and why I wanna start doing this because, when you're a mom, we've started embracing talking about it being tough to be a mom. That didn't used to be a thing, and we've broken that
Mhm.
taboo, and that's a good thing. And blogging had a lot to do with that. People, because I still to this day, long before I was a mom, I remember the Oprah Winfrey episode where there was a documentary made about how hard it was to be a mom, and it was a big deal. Like, people were freaking out about, like, that how to and there was this woman who stood up, and she was so angry at the women who made it, and
Mhm.
she was like, "I don't see what the big deal is, you pull down your bra, you pop the baby on, like, and she didn't get that not all women were all the same as she, and that for some women, bonding is like, she just
Yes.
missed the whole point of the thing, that they weren't saying that it was hard for everyone. They had shared their experience. I mean, I I was this was back when I could watch it almost every day because I was in college. I mean, I was so far from being a mom. And this woman, s- I remember her more than the women who made the documentary. It's
Mhm.
it almost made me think that it was really hard for her, and she couldn't and she thought it was so wrong that it was hard for her, that she had almost counter programmed herself or something. The degree of her reaction to these
There you
women
go.
was so visceral. She was angry at them. And so blogging was a place where I remember when I shared how things were hard for me, and this was before Facebook and such. People left long comments. It was a conversation, and then you click their name, and they would go back, and I would talk to them on their blog about what they had, you know, paragraphs
Wow.
to talk about. It was a very different thing, and so that's kind of what I'm hoping, that we can now, this same many of us, the same people that did that for telling the truth about that, being a mom is multifaceted, and that you shouldn't have to start the sentence with, "Of course I love my kids." That shouldn't have to be the predecessor to anything you want to say that's hard, right? Because you feel there's this compulsion to lest anyone fear, oh, motherhood should be magical, but it can be hard too. No, it's hard. It
Oh.
doesn't mean it's not worth it. It doesn't mean you would change your mind. You shouldn't have to, you know, pre apologize for saying it's hard. So that's one of the reasons I
Mhm.
wanted to do this, is to start women having real conversations.
Mhm.
There are benefits to, to menopause. I'm really glad to not have periods every month. Just really glad about it. Don't miss them. Not one bit. They're inconvenient, they're troublesome, they're expensive. They're just there's a whole lot of things I don't miss about them. It's okay to say that, you know? It's okay to say that I, sometimes
Just the same as you wanted your children to get to a point, you hoped that they had the health and the physical ability and the mental capacity to not be in diapers beyond a certain point. It's
exactly,
messy, it's stinky, it
inconvenient. It's
many
expensive.
times a day. And you aren't apologizing because nobody says, oh, if only there were more dirty diapers,
Exactly.
unless they're like 15 years beyond. And it's like,
Right.
yeah, you're not remembering
Yeah,
accurately.
yeah, I
How
know.
how is your time doing?
Well, I think we're okay. I was gonna wrap it up in a couple minutes, but we're good. We're okay.
I just want to show you. I wore a flowered dress.
It's very pretty.
I have my yellow gingham apron,
Oh,
and I'm going to put on this apron. And you said, "Oh, we need that second talk." So I'm playing the part of
okay.
mom.
Let's do it.
And I am telling you, Tracy, but really I'm telling everyone who sees the replay and every man who's going, okay, I'm going to hang in here for part of this talk.
All
Don't know if
right.
I'm going to hang on to the end, but I will. And I am telling you right now that number 42 in the workbook that I created, number 42 says, puberty, part 2. My body is changing again.
I love it. I love it.
And it's just 2 workbook pages that I put prompts, like ideas of what you might be talking to yourself about. And oops, no, I got to go to page 84 because it ends up being double because there's two pages for every topic. Here it comes. So I first encourage people to, there we
There you
go.
go. There you
First,
go.
encourage people to define it for themselves. What do they think of? Is it excessive hair growing out of the ears? Is it that before I didn't have very much bumps on my body and now why aren't they in the same region that they used to be? Good. I'm making you laugh, but I'm not making fun of aging. I'm making
No, it's
fun
just
of the
reality.
symptoms. And one lady said, I put my arm over my head one day. Notice I'm strategically wearing a sweater. And I looked up at that flesh between your wrist and your elbow. And she goes, my first crepe. I'm crepey. She goes, I'm not even skinny. I shouldn't have any loose skin anywhere. What the heck? I've never been old before. I've been young a lot more years than I've been old. I don't know how to do this. So this is guiding people through how is your reactions to this part of advancing in your life? How is it going to maybe impact those who are closest around you? What could happen? How might you respond in a negative way? And they can circle one or write their own, what's, the first thing that bothers you. And then going on to, hey, is there maybe a positive here? And I give examples and, hey, how can you inform someone else? It's like, just leave that topic off of the menu. When I come over, if the first thing that's going to pop out of everyone's mouth is, oh my gosh, how are your new dentures doing? And it's like, I don't want to show up anymore because I'm not the favorite auntie anymore. I'm the only one who has dentures or the first one that got dentures or something. I don't want to show up anymore. Is there anything about me that is valuable? Or can we joke about something that we can all join in on without offending one
Right.
of our family members? So it's your chance to write it down, better case scenarios, worst case scenarios, and then reward yourself because you just faced something. One of what I call the 52 aspects of aging. You just faced something. and you went, you know what? I responded to this. I wrote how I want to handle my emotions about my aging on my terms, how I want to continue to have good relationships with people. But, I'm just done being the butt of the jokes. You know what? Give me some horns so that I can butt something else. And, just
I like
be,
that. I
just
like that. Yeah.
don't see a target walking in. And then I suggest ways that you reward yourself. Some people, it speaks their language to do something incredible, add to the art mural downtown, and sign it that everyone's supposed to be part of. Some people, it's like, oh, I want to go into a store that I usually feel guilty about because it's just all about me. I'm all about knives and leather. I'm all about looking at the latest cosplay games, or, you can tell that I don't actually do them, but I understand how much fun they are. I don't usually do that, but I established this moment as I'm rewarding myself for facing that and actually communicating it, actually saying to someone else, I have come to the conclusion that it really bothers me. And if that is your goal, then I need to take a break from you. And if that isn't your goal, then yay, we can link elbows again and go, hey, what can we have fun with that doesn't include me as the final haha, or something.
Yeah.
So you have started a show, yay, that actually fits what I wrote down a few years ago, just as I was around aging people who were aging very well. I was there for assistance with the sundry things, the things that were taking a too big of a chunk out of their day. And as a hired caregiver or companion, whatever. And I thought, they sure are handling that well. I remember one person saying, I don't have use of these parts of my body anymore, but boy, am I clever.
I love
And, I am full into menopause. My hot flashes are taking away my nights and are disrupting my wardrobe choices. But boy, am I being clever about the devices I've gotten, or the what I've Googled to find support. I'm starting a support group for people in, the worst menopause ever in the history of womankind. It's like, yay, good for you. So anyway, there you go. My
that was
my apron
perfect.
moment for you.
You are officially the first second talker. So thank you. You were
Oh,
the perfect first guest. So thank
thank
you.
you.
And you guys definitely check out Aging Better Network and Christine Smith. And you will also see her coming up soon on an episode of The Pebble. She's a doubly wonderful guest. And thank you for making this live, very live. And if you tuned in live, or hopefully the whole recording thing I set up worked. If not, it went into the air. But we made something happen. We made
Yeah.
And thank you, Scott, for being with us. And thank you for being an audience member of the first live second talk.